Celebrity Book Club.
Amanda, Milissimo, why did you kill such a beautiful American girl? Amanda, why are you so horny?
Amanda Knox, Foxy, Knoxy, why are you so turned on by the movie Amélie? Why did it make you want to kill a beautiful little girl with perfect breasts?
Amanda, why are you such a sicko always buying thongs in the piazza while you're making out in the piazza and then murdering American British girls?
Amanda, you dirty, disgusting Americano murderist, villainess, maîtresse. Why do your nipples get so hard when you see a knife?
Mother, why don't you go to the club and kill someone and you wear hoodies and your little tank tops while you're seducing our beautiful Italian man?
Amanda, when you come, it's an orgasmo, and all the orgasm is the blood of the people that you killed gushing out of your vagina.
Put her away!
Kill her, burn her at the stake, burn her on the cross.
Who's that knocking at the door? It's all your friends, you filthy whore. Your husband's gone and we've got books and a bottle of wine to kill.
It's Hollywood.
It's books.
It's gossip.
I'm shook.
It's memoirs.
It's martinis.
It's Studio 54.
It's Celebrity Book Club. Come read it while it's hot. Celebrity Book Club. Tell your secrets, we won't talk. Celebrity Book Club. No boys are allowed. Celebrity Book Club. Say it loud and proud. Celebrity Book Club.
Buzz me in, I brought the Cuervo.
Hey, best friend!
It's so good to see you.
So good to see you.
I miss you.
I miss you. Literally, what have you been up to? How are you? How are your parents?
As I mentioned, I have a sty, so things aren't going well.
No, and your sty, but you know what? I think how you can play off your sty. I think it's been so like rainy and folklore. I think you can be like a little more like, oh, sorry, I was crying. It's nothing.
Yeah, I know. Actually, I've been journaling so much and looking inwards so deeply that it's actually bringing out a ton of emotions and repressed trauma, which is making me cry a lot only in one eye, and that is creating the sty.
Well, maybe there's toxins.
Yes.
Well, I wonder if it's the plant-based diet and your toxins are releasing.
Oh my God, maybe that's it. So as our listeners may know from last week's episode, I did start the plant-based diet, and now I'm on sort of day 8 of Mayor Eric Adams' plant-based diet. Day 8, here we go. And yeah, so as sort of day 6 turned into 7, the sty appeared. And maybe it is just the toxins finally expelling. It's like all of that beef jerky.
The beef jerky and the
on the walls of my intestine is finally coming up from my eye.
I wonder if it's like when you went on Accutane, not to be so BetterHelp right now and bring this up,
right?
But like how the acne actually got worse first. It's like getting out all the zits you'll ever have.
Right. I'm getting out all the toxins.
And the sty, it's all those cured meats. It's the soprasetta. It's the mortadella. It's a little cappuccino. The whole milk is the cappuccino.
Parmigiano.
Reggiano.
Si. I've always liked the cheese.
And you say, you get to a restaurant and you say, I want a charcuterie because I'm like fancy American girl who knows what charcuterie is.
I'm an American girl and study abroad, and then I want a little tiny cortado, and then an even tinier cappuccino, and then an even tinier Italian dick to suck on.
I'm so sorry about your sigh and your sty.
Thank you.
And maybe you should seek some better help.
I will say, not to overshare, but my movements have been a lot less painful.
I'm actually really happy to hear that. And again, let's go there. I mean, I know you have struggled.
I would say like there's been a weekly occurrence for the past 10 years where I'm in a Barnes & Noble and all hell's about to break loose. And that happens, in every time I go into the borough of Manhattan. And that just hasn't happened this week. And now I'm realizing it might be all the XL Dunkin' Donuts iced that are basically a gallon of whole milk with a little bit of coffee.
Yeah, when I wouldn't call myself a doctor, but just sometimes I see you with a full Caputo-sized iced Dunkin', and it's just milk. They start when you get an iced coffee, like it's even more than like they recommended for children in the 50s to drink. You're like moo.
Today's iced coffee would kill a child in 1953. So as I do consider reintegrating animal products back into my diet at some point, I may do less dairy.
Like do dairy when kind of there's a reason for it.
Right. Such as a beautiful parmigiano
Oh,
alla carbonara.
Mozzarella. Before we get into one of my favorite books
that you've ever
that
read.
I've ever read, we're about to do a book, Edge of Your Seat, that has to do with Italy. And I have crazy Italian news about myself and my family that I haven't told you, and I need to tell our listeners.
Oh my God, my jaw's already on the floor.
It's probably the best news I've ever gotten in my entire life. I get an email from my father's cousin.
Okay.
And she just says, did your nanny or your nonna ever tell you the story? Because I always thought my grandma was from Palermo.
See?
But she's actually from a small town outside of Palermo. The town of Corleone.
Donna Corleone!
Don Corleone! Where in The Godfather, their last name is Corleone because they're all from Corleone. And supposedly Mario Puzo himself interviewed my grandmother about Corleone when he was writing The Godfather. Yes.
No. It's a miracle. It's a miracle di Dio. It's so beautiful. Bellissima.
Literally,
this is your dream.
This is my dream. So The Godfather is based off my family.
Wow.
Supposedly.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so fucking cool, dude.
How fucking epic. Turns out, I'm still just getting used to this information.
Well, okay. Well, I'm calling the police. Because I don't trust you. And actually, there is no statute of limitations on murder.
And in her email, she was so like, all the people that knew the story are now passed. And she was like, is it true? Or it will just be a family legend forever.
She did not say that in this email. She literally was...
She was like, literally was like, XO, gossiping, girl.
I feel like she's really trying to start your, like, Under the Tuscan Sun arc of just being like...
going to
you
the
go
town.
to Italy and, like, it's so Kristen Cavallari, like, going to discover her, like, relatives, but also meet a jeweler so she can make demi-fine bracelets.
And I'm, like, also going there and just, like, meet a screen printer to make T-shirts.
To make demi-fine tees.
Yeah. I'm looking to make demi-fine tees. But no, full fantasy of me, like, clocking in this town and, like, everyone's gets a really scared look on their face when I'm checking in.
No, and it's like so many nonnas, like, shutting shutters, like, closing the door.
Go in now!
No, she's back!
So speaking of Italy.
Speaking of Italia
and murder and suspicion and accusation.
And sexuality and women.
And Harry Potter.
And Harry Potter and Amélie and the devil. We read an incredible book.
Incredibilissimo. None other than proved innocent.
The Princess of Perugia, Foxy Knoxy, Seattle Sultress,
Amanda Knox, and her book.
Waiting to be heard. A memoir.
And we heard her.
She waited and we heard.
We heard all 800 pages?
Okay,
of this one?
my book is large print for some reason.
Okay.
So yes, it is 593 pages, but I think it's for older folks.
Older folk. Because I listened on audio and it was going to go ahead and was 16 hours. That I just kind of did over the course of some time.
Well, you know what? She spent about 3,978 hours in prison.
3,900
It was like 1,200 days or something.
So it was it's like to honor
the time. You can make that commitment.
To make the commitment to this book. Okay, so let's just get into it.
For those of you who don't know, Amanda Knox was convicted of murdering her study abroad roommate in the town of Italy in 2007.
The town of Perugia. She is from Seattle, Washington. She is, just a good old American girl who's pretty theater camp.
She's extremely nerdy in theater and REI and Harry Potter and D-list.
Literally the most D-list. To quote my girlfriend, she said, the only thing Amanda Knox is guilty of is being the dorkiest person to ever live.
She is incredibly dorky.
She's what Anna Kendrick thinks she is.
Literally, but Anna Kendrick's actually so much more socially adept than her and can go to an event, whereas Amanda Knox is literally just being I'm weird, I'm awkward, and saying I'm awkward.
Saying I'm awkward, is being I'm so weird. Me and my friends, we just do impressions and we're so weird. I'm we do theater and just I make collages and just sorry, I like Harry Potter. I'm weird. She convinces her parents as a young University of Washington student to study abroad in Perugia, and she says,
and it's a hard convince because your parents are divorced, child of divorce.
Oh yeah, and
so
her
you gotta ask
parents
for everything
divorced
twice.
very early.
Yeah,
and she really goes into kind of the details of their divorce. She goes to Italy. She has this roommate Meredith. They actually get along pretty well.
Oh yeah, and let's just say she gets to Perugia. She is being pretty gung ho and independent about the whole thing, and you'll see this kind of bites her in the ass. But she she doesn't get student housing. She goes to the campus a month before classes start in Perugia.
She looks for an apartmento.
She looks for an apartmento, and she sees this random Italian girl. She's like, "Do you know where I can live?" And she's being so bumbling tourist with passport and camera.
The whole thing feels like it.
It's so that Amanda Bynes.
I was about to say that Princess and Me movie or whatever, where it's
what a girl wants. / it's also the Roman Holiday Update with Hilary Duff and my favorite movie, Chasing Liberty, with Mandy Moore.
Mandy Moore, that where she's just and also just imagine her ultimate kind of C-list girl in 2001. She's in flares and
a scoop
hoodie
neck and a hoodie
and a messenger bag and she has had a boyfriend. She has had sex. The other thing is Amanda Knox in the media was portrayed as really this horny seductress. Here's the thing: is she actually is a horny theater nerd.
Yes, her horniness is so different than the horniness
than what they portrayed her
and
as.
That's why the story is so insane. So she was this media sensation for months and months and months. This case was got so much global attention, and the police made up this absolutely insane story that she and her boyfriend of a week had done this
crazy triple
three-way
threesome
rape murder with this random guy she had met once, and that they he was raping her roommate, and then they were and they just got so turned on that her and her nerdy Sailor Moon boyfriend decided to join in and murder her.
And that the reason why they murdered her is because she wouldn't do the freaky sex act that they wanted her to do, was the Italian police's theory. And it was the night started off and they were all watching torrented Harry Potter on a Dell laptop. And then just got all so horny and had costumes and just she didn't want to have a freaky threesome. So they were you know what, bitch? We're going to murder you.
And what's insane is the entire Italian public and much of the global public, although I feel the tide really started to turn against that. The Americans started to believe this was ridiculous, for the entire duration of the trial.
Which is multiple years.
Yeah.
And I remember when do you remember when the story first broke? I remember reading a description of it, and I was I was so ready to also just believe it.
Well, of course, because
it was
you want to believe a story.
And it was sensational. You're wait, and you looked at the photos, and you're kind of wait, this C-list brunette had a crazy Harry Potter threesome?
At first it felt like it was good PR for America. We were yes, that's right. We do go to Italy and
fuck and kill. We fucking kill. Right. It's Italians, you're supposed, and then more of the stories came where and the British tabloids are also very much to blame. But not only the
because they have the richest history of tabloid insanity,
right.
And it was the perfect mixture. Because also the victim was British, Meredith Kershaw. She was from Leeds, darling.
Right, so she was British, and the media built up that Amanda. They kept on calling her Knox, which I found so funny.
Well, the Italian guards would,
because
they couldn't pronounce
Knox.
it. They're Knox, whenever they were let her out of her cell.
It's funny because in the audio, it's read by Amanda, and she does because she went there to learn Italian.
Oh, wait, yeah,
so she's
wait,
like
I'm
literally
kind of-
like doing her Italian. She's
Wait,
like,
I really want to hear her Italian.
so she's being so like, it is like, it's like nerdy girl sexy a little bit. It's her just being so like, and then we went to the cultura, and she's always been like, and then we went to the piazza, and then we went to Le Chic, and Raphael grew up in Pugliese and Milano. And you're like, oh, behave.
Oh, behave when you're just like, oh, girl, you can murder me any day.
She said the word cultura so many times.
Oh, is that the word
That's
that
like the
says it's-
prison.
Right. I feel because I think the
means
way it's
like-
spelled is like quest.
I think it means-
questura or something. But
Yes, I think it means the commissary in prison or somewhere in.
the questura. It's like on
Yes.
every page. Yeah.
Yes, and she's always been. And then we went to the cultura.
I think that means the police station.
Yeah, or it was like a center.
Because I feel like she was there a lot at the beginning during the investigation, but then when they moved to the capanne,
Campagna.
she was like more in prison boots.
Anyway, but back to the tabloid. So it was also just beyond perfect too, because it's like she had this Italian boyfriend. It's also like this American dream of a
Yes.
girl
Yes.
going and getting a sexy Italian boyfriend. Meanwhile, in reality, this guy was like also pretty D-list, and she's like, when she's talking about their early dating, she's like, he would sit at his desk and roll a joint and tell me about how he loved Sailor Moon in high school. And then I would tell him how like I loved like watching just like also like Sailor Moon.
This part really illustrates their insanely D-list, like nerdy, bisexual, techie, like theater camp, like horny, but insanely dorky relationship. He was 23 from Bari in southern Italy and 3 weeks away from getting his degree in computer science. I'm moving to Milan in the new year, he said. I'm hoping to get a job designing video games. We learned we had a third language in common, German. When I told him I'd studied Japanese in high school, he said he loved Sailor Moon, a Japanese comic book about girls with magic powers fighting evil. The TV series it spawned had been my favorite when I was younger. I was surprised by how childish his comic book interest was, but I thought his willingness to admit that was endearing. The marijuana was starting to kick in. You know what makes me laugh? I asked. Making faces.
Oh no!
See?
Yeah,
I crossed my eyes and puffed out my cheeks. You try it. Okay. He stuck out his tongue and scrunched up his eyebrow. And then, like, that is their romance. They're always just, like, cuddling and making faces.
No, so she is like
It's so innocent.
No, she defines like she's British accent girl. She's making faces at one point, like later when she's in prison, and like she finally has some more friends in prison. One girl, one like older prisoner, like calls her like Amanda time or something like that, and like has a code word for when she's like, you're doing too many impressions and being like too weird.
You're
Yes,
stimming.
like you need to calm down. She was like, yeah, because I would just like get like really crazy and start doing impressions and like start being so weird and making faces and like,
And it's so funny because it's like it's such an obvious like disconnect where it's like that girl could never be like the crazy villainous girl, but like Italy just like doesn't have references for that, and they're like this insanely
No.
medieval Catholic country,
Yes.
and so they're just like, she's a woman, she's a sorceress.
yeah. So she wears a tank top from American Eagle. Like,
So she is too sexy. She
Yeah.
is exuding too much violent sexuality. We cannot understand it.
and I guess to define like what's also so bisexual techie girls, like she really gives you the details of her like sexuality background of just like making out with some guys in high school and like did have casual sex.
I loved how honest she was about everything. I mean, it's a diary, but yeah.
Right. But she's like, yeah, I did, to really like illustrate how her and Raphael were committed. She tells you like how she like slept with a few guys in Italy before and how like bad she felt because the media portrayed her as this like huge slut. And she was like, no, I literally like did not like having casual sex, and I had like one boyfriend in Seattle that was long distance, and he had a mohawk
And
that
a
was like
kilt.
so he had a kilt, and he was like so
Okay.
weird, and we were so weird together.
Okay, but what I found weird was that
Yeah.
they were still Skyping when she was in Peruge in the first month.
So you're like, bitch, you're cheating on. Well, because she.
I feel like Raphael was also, or one of the other guys she slept with at one point was just kind of like, it's kind of random that you're like still always Skyping with your ex.
I think she was like, and then
But I
her-
mean, I feel like
her
that's also so
friend
straight
was like,
people,
"Are you
that's
guys gonna get
normal."
back together?" And she was like, "I don't know,
Yeah.
maybe." There's always that girl, and I feel like
There
that
is,
is
yes.
freshman
it's
year
so freshman year.
that like is a little bit alt and is like, okay, you guys, I'm gonna go Skype with my boyfriend. You're kind of like, really? Like, you're
No,
really
you're
holding on to this.
You're doing that? Come
Yeah,
on.
come on.
We're in Italia.
We're in Italia. We're
then-
a freshman.
But then, so she is being like, again, very gung-ho. I'll say it again. Gung-ho Knox.
Yeah.
So she like sleeps with this one guy when they're on the train to Perugia, like out of some random hotel, and they like have a pizza together. And like her sister is like, I'm going to go up to the room. You guys are being like so flirty.
And she's like, it's so crazy. We literally had nothing in common. He was like, she was like, what kind of music do you like? And he was like, I don't know, but I like the club. And she was like, okay. Like, do you like movies? Do you like shows? And then he just like fucked her.
But she's always been so like nerdy about it when she's just like, we were fooling around pretty heavily. Like,
Yeah, there was tons of making out and kissing necks and other sort of making out.
Then she fucks the coffee shop guy who she's like flirting with like for a week, and she like goes back to his house and he sounds so Italian, and his like mom is also there, and he's like, do you want to watch a movie under the covers?
His mom is like, what do you guys want for dinner?
And then she has sex with that one other guy when they do go to the club, and it's like, I feel like it's Meredith's British friends are in town and they're all like randomly at the club. And
I was thrown as someone who's never gone abroad but has gone to college.
Yeah.
I was just really thrown into
You did a domestic
I
program.
did domestic abroad to Chicago. That I would say really first month of college when you're with like a group of 11 at a hookah bar.
Yeah.
Like this whole book is that vibe.
It is
And then
so that.
and you're like, okay. And everyone's like, yeah, no, it's going to be 11 of us.
Well, because that's what people don't understand about study abroad is the first month study abroad, it's kind of the same as the first month domestic.
And we're making that aware for our listeners.
Yeah, and I want to raise awareness to this idea because it's like you are going to be friends with really random people. You're going to be really close with them. You're going to hookah with 11 people. And like, yeah, it's like I went to Oktoberfest with just like, am I close with those 5 people anymore? Not so much. Like I went to Brussels with like another 4 guys and it's like, no, we don't speak anymore. But at the time we were just like having so many heart-to-hearts and just like doing so much Belgian hookah.
Was it one of the best nights of your life? Absolutely.
Of course.
It's about being in the moment.
And she really embraced the moment, moved in with these 2 random older Italian ladies and then this younger British girl. And then also got a job at Le Chic.
Celebrity Book Club.
So let's talk about the Chic for a second, because this is where things
this
turn.
is where it's start to go downhill
So
for her.
Le Chic is a club in Perugia that sounds like possibly one of the creepiest clubs
It's so
like,
creepy.
ever.
Okay, but I will say,
Like
as someone
the
of
emptiest dance floor.
Europe experience, this sounds like every single European city has a gay bar like this. It's like kind of small and down, and there's like 8 high tops, and there's always like a weird cheap like Spencer's Gifts like disco light happening, and there's an empty dance floor, and the music is so loud and it's completely empty.
And you're getting like a vodka soda and it's like €9 and you're kind of like, okay, and like hoping people come to dance. So she gets a job basically like barking and handing out flyers.
Every drink comes like pre-roofied.
Yeah, it's like everyone's getting roofied at the bar. That job to me, I was like, I feel like a me job at 23. Do you remember though when like one day I went with like a crew of people just like asking, I feel like for renewable energy at an apartment in Sheepshead Bay in the middle of the winter?
No, but that's sad.
It's so sad. And at the end, I was like freezing. They were like, "It's so you got the job," and I was like, "I'm never doing this."
Wait, you didn't realize that it was like an audition?
No, I knew it was an audition, but that I was like, "Oh, this is a
yeah."
scam.
No, I mean, and you were also doing. I mean, you were like casting, recruiting, because you never actually did any like longitudinal studies for medications, did you? You just made a movie about those people.
Yes, it's much more like all of the casting I've done is like truly just going out to people on the street, and like handing out flyers that just say like, "Hey," like I went to a a gastric bypass informational session at Mount Sinai to recruit for obese people
Who might want a fecal metal transplant.
plant and be filmed.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is really gross, Lily. You're really, really twisted.
Anyway, a little different than handing out flyers.
But I do feel like it is so flyer girl to be like, wrongly accused of murder.
know.
It's just like you're kind of putting yourself in these situations. And like I'm you know, and I'm so like proud of her for doing that and trying to like take charge of her study abroad experience. But it's a little bit just like, that's a scam job. And you need to know that that's a scam job.
Like, I was thinking about you.
Because that's a scam job in America, too,
Right.
you know?
I was thinking about you abroad and, like, would you have gotten accused of murder in kind of in a scenario like this?
You know, I kept, like, relating to her, obviously, at the beginning because she was like, I don't want to leave. I want to, like, be a part of this murder investigation. And I was like, I totally get that and wanting to be like, yes, like... I'm not just going to, like, abandon this situation. Like, my roommate was murdered. I want to help people figure it out. Maybe I could be useful.
Because they're in the beginning, she doesn't realize when Meredith is murdered, she doesn't realize, like, she
is the suspect.
So she keeps on, like, going to the police and, like, giving them information and, like, telling them this whole story about how, like, Raphael's, like, fridge started leaking and they were, like, cooking this fish.
I know, it's like completely unnecessary. It's like that did happen, but it's like you don't need to be telling the police this, and like you don't need to be so showing up and being like, I'm just like a skimpy, innocent, like naughty American girl who you like want to do the crime. It's like she wasn't putting that together, and like she says, like, I can't believe I was so naive. I can't believe I was so naive. I do feel like I would be a lot more sus of the police than her and would not be like cooperating with them because like I've had bad experiences with the police and also
but I
think,
mean back then.
But I feel like
because that time when you went to London.
No, okay, you're so right.
And
I did get deported.
Yeah, and they were like, what are you here for? And you're like, I think journalism, I want to teach piano, I want to write a book, I want to work for the London, like, Spectator. And they were like, do go home, you don't have a work visa, bye. And they sent you instantly back home.
The way that I am, Amanda Knox. Because I was being so naive. I was just like, no, like, you can just, like, talk to, like, the UK Home Office. Like, they're nice people. And they ultimately did put me in an interrogation cell. And it was just, like, me and 6 other Muslims. And, like, it was just this guy, like, across the table from me just being like, you said you wanted to work. And I was like, call Hillary Clinton.
And you're like, I don't know. I went to NYU. I'm supposed to get a job in media studies. Hillary Clinton will answer, I swear.
Ultimately,
Martha Coakley, maybe?
Neither Hillary nor Martha picked up the phone. They did march me through Heathrow with my wrists bound in a twisty tie. Absolute Knox vibes.
Yeah.
And then I was sent on a plane back to not New York City, but Washington, D.C., where I spent a week in hiding.
Your family couldn't find you.
I was ashamed. It was the shame.
You couldn't go back home.
So, yes, maybe I would have, like, stupidly stayed and been so, like, flouncy, flirty in my, like, skinny, like, cheap Mondays.
Right, and, like, Converse.
Like, this is crazy. I can't believe he got murdered.
She is so, like, purple or, like, maroon Converse to me. Oh, like a weird color.
Absolutely.
Like, not a punk color. She's like, these are hella dope. These maroon Converse.
Yeah. I mean, I would even say lavender, even, which is starting to get into just like cheesy girl territory, but it's like she's on the borderline. That's why I think purple is right.
Yeah, I think it's more purple because that's like the bisexual color. There's this, and the media really clung on. So in between when she hasn't been like fully accused yet, the apartment is a murder scene.
Right.
So she can't go in. So her and Raphael go shopping for clothes.
Because she literally has no underwear. So she goes to this random ass store in the piazza.
And I remember seeing the tabloids all about this, about how like she had already murdered and that she went, her and Raphael went to go buy like more sexy clothes.
Like celebratory murder lingerie?
Yeah.
It's absolutely insane. But of course, you're reading the story. You're like, wow, this bitch is insane. I'm obsessed with her.
I was just like, fuck yes, I love Amanda Knox. Like, she's buying like crazy, cheap, slutty, like red lingerie after murdering this girl. Like,
and this is also what's so nerdy about it, because like nerdy girl doesn't even know that you like can go to like the random supermarket that's like kind of outside of the city center to get underwear in an European village. It's like she's actually just going to like the weird store that nobody shops at, that like literally no one shops at, that just has like 5 weird tankinis. And
then of course they were photographed like making out outside of the store, and she was like, those were kisses of comfort.
And they were.
And
And when you, so have you seen the documentary on Netflix?
So I have, but like actually years ago. And what I really took away from that was They're so messy over there. Yeah. The police,
messiness.
Messy.
No, I mean, Italy's literally known for being like the sloppiest country
most confused
because
they're just like two pasta pizza and just are like, oh, I don't need a glove.
They don't. It's like the trains are like normally like 2.5 hours late or they don't ride at all. And not to mention the fact that it's like so Catholic and medieval and everyone is just
right.
Like,
they're like slut whore.
Slut whore. But it's like the whole documentary is about just like they're trampling all over the crime scene for months.
The video is the video of the police looking at the apartment is one of the craziest, messiest things you've ever seen. Like, it's almost like Jackass level, like the show. Like, there are no gloves. They're walking over everything. They're touching every piece of evidence with their own
bare hands and like moving stuff around and like picking it up
and going back and forth and back and forth. And then, of course, it's like the oldest, most conservative, like Italian prosecutor just being so like, we found her DNA everywhere. And it's like, well, she lived there. Babe.
She lived there and her DNA like wasn't in the room, which is also so like just kind of classic like weird roommates you're not actually that close to thing where it's like they weren't actually really hanging out that much.
No. And when I watched that documentary, I have to say I felt like a fucking fool.
Oh, for believing all
the tabloids. And I was...
Well, I think, and it was a different time. And I will say, over the past 10 years, I think, mainstream media...
Our vision of police
has really
changed.
I think globally, domestically.
Policia.
And I think just the average person now has so much more suspicion of the police. And we understand that, like, not just, like, in every possible case, the police are going to try to just find people guilty. And they're just going to try to twist the evidence to fit their version of the crime. And like whether it's in like a murder trial or if it's just like police like pulling some random person over, like we know that this is how they operate, that they're bullies.
And it's kind of like this story
and the exception to that is actually like the rare thing, not the reverse.
No, she says a wild statistic. 95%, I think, of it was like Italian like murders, they're all like proven guilty. Because it's like, yeah, they're all just being like, absolutely guilty.
It's literally 1352 over there, and they're just being like, oh, her hair is a darker color, burn her.
Probably, except if you're in with certain families in the village of Corleone.
Yeah. Then the judge lets you off with a little smack on the behind.
You're a bad boy.
Just getting a little bit into Austin Powers there. Okay. Okay, so basically, Meredith gets brutally murdered. Oh, sorry, go on.
Meredith gets brutally murdered. I just thought of another absolutely wild thing that the police does that felt like fully Law and Order or like an NCIS thing that they pull, is that they just tell her that she's HIV positive.
That was so crazy.
I didn't even know that part. And they're just like, Amanda, we have something to tell you. You have HIV. And she's like, what?
She's like, literally whom? Yeah. Who did I get ever? And she's also so condoms because it's 2007 and like every circle was using condoms then. And she's like, I've only had sex with 7 people and we use condoms all of them. And then the next day it was like a story just like, Amanda fucked 7 men in Italy.
Gives them all an HIV.
And then it was like months later, they were like, oh yeah, we like did a test and you actually don't have HIV.
One of her like wise, like crazy friends at the prison, like did tip her off to be like, they could just be faking things still, like, so you like say weird stuff, but obviously you're going to freak out if
they tell you have HIV.
Yeah. So
no, it's insanity. And then, okay, also they arrest her after like a couple days where they're like putting together this completely fake case. And also, let's say, so the murder was, we still don't know actually who committed it.
That's not true. There's someone in jail for it now.
Yeah, Rudy, good day. But but we don't. I mean,
we don't know. Right. There is.
I'm not so inclined to trust the Italian
to think it was Rudy
police process after this. And Rudy has suggested maybe there was another person there. Like, I could see it. Obviously, Rudy was involved.
But there definitely, I think, was another person, and we don't know. And it's kind of like,
and we'll never know.
He took the fall.
Yeah. But Rudy's DNA is all over the thing. And this is what, during the trial, they have a speed trial for Rudy. So Rudy is like this West African immigrant from Ivory Coast. And they have this very quick trial for him. And they're like, oh, no, he definitely did it. But then we're still going to
do Amanda and Raphael
because, like, we're sticking to our insane, like,
they
rape,
just loved the rape sex story so much.
Crazy murder story.
And
even
they
though their
yeah.
DNA is, like, nowhere and it's only there because of contamination.
They were like, no, Rudy did it, but Amanda was the one holding the knife, and she's like a sinful whore who like did this game.
It's so crazy that you can just have a separate quick little trial for someone and then be like,
they're like,
okay.
well, that was the classic like murderer,
Yeah.
but like we actually have a really good story going.
yeah, back to the story anyway.
Everyone like loves it.
And they're like sticking to the story for so long. Also, okay, but back to the things that the police did wrong. Of the contamination, obviously the HIV was really rude. When that woman hits her.
Oh, that's insane.
And she literally, like, all of these like Italian investigators are yelling at her to just like confess to this murder. And at one point, one of the women just literally smacks her in the back of the head. And it's just like, just dale se trota. Yeah. And then she's like, okay. And so that's when she says that she thinks the owner of Le Chic did it.
Right. So, and blames it on Patrick.
Yeah.
The owner of Le Chic.
Who's also African, but he's
right.
like Moroccan or Algerian.
No, I think he is.
Also West Africa.
African.
No, I know I was saying where.
Oh, where?
Morocco's in Africa.
I knew that. I actually knew that. Well, because I've seen a photo of him, and I've read about. I feel like I want to say like, well, fact check that because I'm not going to say anything because I'm not like the Italian police, and I'm not going to guess a country. Yeah. So yeah, was Amanda Knox Karening a little there when she was like, you know what? I'm just going to kind of blame it on the black club owner, who I do think is a little bit sketchy.
They had brought him up though because they were bringing up her text with him. She texted
was like,
him.
This will be easy.
She had texted him being like, oh, like, I'm not gonna. He was like, you don't need to come into the bar. And then she was like, okay, see you later. They're like, why did you say see you later? You were planning to meet up to commit the murder.
Because that was like, the also insane Italian thing because she was like, see you later. The translation
was like,
in American is see you later.
Means like goodbye. But
in Italy, it's like a promise.
Yeah.
It's a promise to see someone. Why would you meet up with him? And so, as you've seen in many crime shows, the police can just twist your words and you're in a crazy fog that you just say something. And then this was so funny at the end of the book. They describe her like Amélie, her favorite movie.
I'm sorry, the Amélie of Seattle?
The Amélie of Seattle. Get that tattooed on my back.
That was the best line ever. That actually was like the winning defense when they finally appeal the case to the Supreme Court of Italy. Her lawyers are like, she's actually the Amélie of Seattle, so she's really quirky.
Really quirky and like loves to dance at random. And like, yeah, if you said something to her, she might get so confused that she would like make up a totally weird story.
Make up a weird story about this club.
A fantastical weird story.
And that's why she's like, doesn't seem like she's acting in the proper way for like the roommate of a murdered British girl.
Right, and they're like, they literally are just like, would Amélie murder? No. I rest my case.
No, it's like if they had said that at the beginning, they would be like, oh, I guess that's true.
When
Amélie would not murder.
At the beginning of the book, like, Amanda lets you know because she knows that's what got her off. But she, like, says in the book multiple times how Amélie is her favorite movie.
Well, it's crazy that she still has a positive connotation with it because they watched it the night that Meredith was murdered.
But then it's what got her off at the same time.
Right. The way this movie is so pivotal in her life is kind of insane.
I mean, but at that time, do you remember how huge Amélie was?
Amélie was like running
the world. Who runs the world? Amélie.
I'm reminded of a great Kate Berlant quote, I believe it is, when she said, people loved Amélie because she didn't speak.
And Amanda spoke
too much. And if they just could have like portrayed her as like, no. She is like the quiet, meek, like cute, coquettish, like silent girl. She'll be quiet, you know?
Right, but
we need girls to be quiet.
You know, I think I could be mixing this up, but I heard once from a friend who went to Italy and they said they didn't hook up. And a friend...
It wasn't me.
Wasn't me. And a friend told them the reason why they didn't is because like they weren't being like docile and like they were being too loud American girl. But like I thought Italian guys
That sounds
did.
like an excuse. Sounds like your friend wasn't.
I'm just saying I thought
bringing her
Italian guys
A-game.
like girls to be Mamma Mia.
They do like girls to be Mamma Mia. They like, honey, Italian men like anything that moves.
Well, it's like that meme account I follow, Hardcore Italians, like every meme is just so like a photo of a spiked heel and it's just being like, don't make an Italian woman angry.
Yeah. No, Italian women are sassy. Italian men love sassy American women. They love coquettish American women. They love sassy Brits. They love it all. They're horn dogs.
Amanda, she's the mix. She like is a sassy American, but she's also just like a nerdy, sassy
she's
American.
Too dorky for most people.
I just saw in my notes this style that she had when she was describing her style in like high school as hiking boots with dresses.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into that and what does she wear, but that defines her personality. Like she said it.
Right.
Can we talk about her cellmates?
Yeah, let's talk about her cellmates. So her first cellmate, what's her name? Lupa?
Goofa.
Goofa. Who was like really like butch, right? Or like bald?
She was just like old and had scabs that she was picking at a lot and she sounded really creepy. She sounded like Gollum. But then she was always just being like, but ultimately like I did think that she kind of like wanted to care about me in the same way that like a cat who likes you will bring you a dead mouse.
Right. Because she's like, is it completely insane and is like, you know, clearly probably mentally ill.
Yeah.
But like would do weird favors for Amanda and know that like a cat bring you a dead mouse. But then she does refer, what is it? She does refer to some lesbian prison mates.
Yeah, we were getting there. Okay.
Oh, do you want to read the part? Sorry, I'm being too horny, nerdy American girl.
Now I was moving in with Sarah. So this is like she's already had like a bunch of other cellmates.
Goofa's long gone.
Goofa is gone. Young, with the tall, lean looks of a model, she worked as a portavito, delivering meals from a rolling cart. So she was like waitress maid in the prison. She was also in my weekly guitar class, another prison rehabilitation activity, like movie time.
Amanda's so big, huge acoustic guitar.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Huge. And is always like playing the Beatles. Go on.
Sarah had managed to make her cell homey, clean, and organized. There were bright-colored sheets on the beds, postcards taped to the walls, and a colorful curtain tied to the bars at the window. So she's being so like a YouTuber, like clean, aesthetic, but like also a succulent girl. We had a heart-to-heart talk while I unpacked. She was sitting cross-legged on the bed, closest to the window. I should probably tell you right off, I'm bisexual, she said. That's cool, I replied. I'm not, but I'm definitely live and let live. You're not my type anyway, she said. I thought you might be gay when you asked to live with me, but I decided you weren't. She hesitated. You know, your former cellmate said you're spoiled. And so then, she has a bisexual movement, and then...
drum roll, please.
The kiss.
The kiss.
Okay, I'll get to the kiss. One morning when I was walking into the bathroom to put something away, I bumped into Sarah. And she kissed me on the lips. I just stood there staring at her, too surprised to know what to say. Your face is telling me that was not okay, she said quickly. I'm really sorry. She never made physical advances after that, but she did once ask if I was curious what it was like to have sex with a woman like her. My stock answer? An emphatic no. Made her feel bad. It's like, obviously, Sarah's trying to hit.
I screamed.
I absolutely screamed.
When this happened.
Is this also so her not being a murderer? It's like your entire 4 years in an Italian prison and you only got kissed by accident once by a woman? It's like,
right. Like, if she was a murderer, she would be fucking.
Yeah.
Well, because famously bisexuals are murderers.
Yeah, no. Sarah, on the other hand, did commit the crime because she was accused of killing her boyfriend. Although, maybe not, but probably. Okay, other things that are insane about the Italian justice system, how they take a 2-month vacation for summer break.
And she goes, she's like, you're kidding, right? And the guy goes, I need to have a longer vacation with my daughter. Yeah. And she goes, your daughter? I haven't seen my mom in months. It's wild how her parents, I mean, yeah, they like moved to Perugia. Her step-parents do. Her
like friend does. Also Madison.
Madison does.
Would you move to Marseille if I was in a prison convicted of murder?
Yes.
Oh my God, thank you so much.
Yeah, I would absolutely. And I would like be so, because I want to be so huge table, take out tons of papers.
Yes, binders, papers.
And everyone's like, hold on. Wait a second. Here's an email from Steven asking to return an item. This time it doesn't match up with what the prosecution
with what the
is saying.
testimony said. It doesn't match. I think we found it. I think we found our hole. Okay, I just don't think that her lawyers were good. And I'm kind of shocked that she's still so in love with them. And I feel like it is Stockholm Syndrome because at the very end of the acknowledgement, she's still just like, thank you, Luca, like Guadagnino,
Right.
like you
That's
guys.
the director of, what do you call it?
Their names are, wait, what is it? It's close. Luciano and
Okay.
Carlo. Whatever.
Yeah.
Thank you, Luca
Wait,
Guadagnino.
The end when she's freed and her mom hands her BlackBerry and she can't figure it out. And the mom is like, it's touchscreen. And she's like, I didn't know how to use a BlackBerry.
Okay, like someone gives her an iPhone. She's
Yeah.
like, I'd never seen an iPhone before. What a crazy time to go into jail, like right at the launch of the iPhone.
Literally, you don't even know how to BB it. Like it's like I think like she knew what a BlackBerry was, but like had used like a newer BlackBerry. And when they asked her, this is what she missed most from the real life. Do you remember?
Her friends? What did you say?
Sushi. She also gets so patriotic and starts, I mean, I guess whatever, if you're in prison you go crazy. She starts like singing the Star Spangled Banner every morning with like this like Peruvian expat.
Yeah, I mean, she needs stuff to do because at first she's just singing Beatles songs because she's so
she's
like
being big guitar,
I've heard of
Beatles.
the Beatles.
And then she like does sing Cat Power and she's like, yeah, I'm indie. I love Amélie and Cat Power.
Celebrity Book Club.
Segmentes.
How does she live?
What does she wear?
What does she eat?
No, what does she eat? The sushi.
Sushi. She loves the sushi and she's trying cappuccinos. Oh, her prison cappuccinos? This is so Italian prison. She's like, in prison, we would do cappuccinos by taking coffee and milk and shaking it really hard, but it never really worked. And it's like, okay, it's still crazy that they're doing shaken espresso in Italian prison.
You're like, you don't have to like fake a cappuccino. I feel like she is so brown rice and like Seattle and Whole Foods. And
she loves sushi. She's brown rice sushi. She's going to Whole Foods. She's grabbing Whole Foods sushi.
I mean, she was making the most just like normal me meal, just like tomatoes when the night she keeps talking about how what they think is the murder weapon, which is just a knife they found in Raphael's apartment.
Right. The fish, I was surprised by the college fish, but it's like they are in Italy. And she's like, me and Raph, there's a point in the book when she says repeatedly over and over to the police what she said they did that night. She goes, we made fish. We smoked a joint. We watched Harry Potter. We had sex.
They watched Amélie.
Oh, sorry. Amélie. I thought it was Harry
No, they were reading Harry Potter in German. Okay. Reading Harry Potter in German, watching Amélie.
And then she repeats it again. We smoked a joint. And they were like, how do you not know if you had dinner or like had sex first? And she keeps me like, maybe we did have sex before we made this random fish and tomatoes. So yeah, I think she's so bootable.
It's
to get into Buddha stuff.
You know, what makes me feel so sad about this whole thing is that it actually just like kind of ruined her lust for Europe and for Italy. It's like that's like one of the most painful losses of all, even more than her good friend Meredith. It's just like now she can't be like so in love with having an espresso in the morning.
No, because it's like as a young UW student, she was so excited to go to the Chic and go to the cafe and have espressos and go to a football game.
And now she has to just be so... I mean, she's probably more just like tea now.
I mean, she also... Starbucks, though. She lives in Seattle. It's coffee central.
It's so corporate, though. She's pretty
I think she goes to other
anti-corporate.
roasteries. I'm just saying the city of Seattle...
No, it's a coffee town. No, I get it. Okay.
It's a Java town.
But I feel like it is so like... I was wrongfully imprisoned for 4 years to be like, tea...
But she was so grateful for the cappuccino post.
Okay, you're right. All right, I'm pushing tea. I need to reel it in.
No doubt. There's a fuck ton of tea in her house.
The tea and coffee as a whole.
She's like
loose leaf, yeah.
Yeah, she's like, oh, I have this amazing Darjeeling.
Yeah. She's got a lot of options.
Okay.
She's still very mornings. That's one thing she didn't, because like prison is so 7:30 a.m. wake up call.
Yeah, I don't see her staying out late because I think even like she describes this kind of like really sad night, and it's how like how they get her a lot is because like the murder happens around Halloween, and like she calls she doesn't really have like so much to do. on Halloween.
Oh, yeah. And then, and Meredith goes to that amazing dinner party.
Yes.
Okay, wait, that part is so
Sorry.
funny.
You're Meredith.
Because I was like, wait, am I Meredith? Wait, can I just pull this part up really quickly? Because it's like, Amanda's just being so bored and she like goes home early. She's like, I don't know, everyone's drunk and like being so boisterous that it makes me uncomfortable. And then they're kind of like going over last night in the kitchen, just like day before Meredith's about to get brutally murdered. What did you end up doing last night? I asked. Meredith goes, I went to a dinner party. It was amazing. They filled a surgical glove with water and froze it to make an ice hand. It looked cool floating in the punch bowl. Then we all went dancing at Merlin's, Meredith's favorite pub.
And it's so British girl to like not really be doing anything so Italian.
I forgot she was British.
Yeah, to be so like it was. I bet like we had
it looked so cool, looking floating in the punch bowl. Then we all went dancing at Merlin's. Okay, wait. How does she live?
How does she live? I mean, I think she's still like dorm style graduated. I want to say like she's a little like hippie in this. I feel like her style is a little bit like my sister in this way. Like I feel like she is tapestry. Yeah.
No, I was
Like-
getting major your sister vibes from
Shout
a lot
out,
of
Gia.
this
Yeah.
episode. Shout out to your sister. Just like studying abroad and also just being so like soccer femme, like
Racer
scoop
back,
neck.
scoop.
Like that, she's literally wearing like this little cardigan on the cover that she's always wearing like a light gray little like cardigan or sweater over like a purple or dark
Yes.
green scoop neck.
And in the same way, my sister, I feel like only has like really slutty outfits or just like yoga pants and like a gray knit cardigan hoodie.
Yeah, it's just like,
It's like
really
bodycon or like full floor length Tibetan skirt.
Yeah, Tibetan skirt and just like random wicker table and
And I think she has like an old cat.
yes. Oh my god. She defines old cat.
And like I think the TV is on like
Mittens has a degenerative eye condition for sure.
Also, again, I keep on going back to maroon. I think it is kind of like a pretty deep, comfortable maroon couch. Yeah, and just some Indian accents, really good espresso cups. She is married now and has a kid, so...
And she said she wanted, when she wrote a little letter to herself right before the verdict came down in the appeal, and it was what she'll do if she gets out of jail. And it was like, go to UW, like... take a creative writing class, like
get married, become
have
a
kids,
mom.
become a mom.
Then she's like, if I can't do that, she was like obsessed with just still being UW. She was like, and if not, I'll do like remote UW classes.
Yeah, if I stay in prison for the next 25 years, I do want to do remote UWs.
Go Washington, I guess.
Yeah, like go Bobcats or something. It's like, okay, random. Give it up, bitch. Okay. Who are you in the book?
Who are in the book? Well, I guess
so now you
think
I'm actually Meredith and I'm the one getting murdered.
Yeah, now I think you're married, but you're also like a little of Raphael in this just like Sailor Moon.
I'm not that Sailor Moon.
I'm
more
sorry.
Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Yeah, I get it. You're
Cowboy
Dragon
Bebop.
Ball Z. Sorry. Okay, so you're Meredith, a little bit Amanda, but like more Meredith because you're like British and study abroad.
Yeah, I do think I'm more British than... Honestly, I'm more British than Seattle as an ethnicity.
Yeah. Right? Because it's like you're a little more like, instantly made 12 friends. And like, oh, yeah, no, like, I will go to like the Piazza grocery store with my roommate, but like, not inviting her maybe to this 13
Like,
person.
I'm definitely sleeping with random guys that I'm meeting, but it's not the guy at the coffee shop. Like, I don't need that.
because Amanda
you know what I
meets
mean?
Raphael at a classical concert.
Yeah.
Am I Rachel, the lesbian prisoner, or am I more like
Sierra, the bisexual cellmate?
Yeah. Have you ever thought of
I don't know. That
kissing a
girl is
woman?
Olivia Wilde.
No,
to
she
me.
is so like too sexy in Olivia Wilde.
That girl's definitely played by Olivia Wilde. Also, they need to make a better movie of this because the
Yes,
Hayden Panettiere
absolutely.
Lifetime movie is just like such
We
a...
need an
actual
Yeah.
movie that's like good.
Yeah, like an update. And I
need
think
Sofia Coppola to make it.
who I saw this weekend.
Oh my God, VIP Lounge.
VIP Lounge.
Wait, I need to hear that story.
Yeah.
Shaking.
Shaking.
Are you more the evil like prosecutor?
Italian. I was like Italian prosecutor who's like not using gloves, and I feel like I'm like
You're definitely so messy at a crime scene.
no, and I'm just like it doesn't matter like it will basically be the same. Like, you won't really be able to tell my handprints. And I'm like not having the gloves. And I'm like, who
You're
cares?
getting your own bloody paw prints like all over the bed. All right.
Okay, I loved this book.
Yeah, I give it 4.5 stab wounds out of 5.
I give it 4.6 torrented Amélie's on Adele.
I don't think she's the most amazing writer, but she's actually not that bad of a writer either. It's like,
no.
and she's pretty like thorough with her, like, you know, turning the mirror on herself.
Well, that's what's cool about it, is like all the details, every detail that she's giving to you is because she's waiting to be heard.
Yeah.
Basically, it's like all of them are little clues for the case. Like,
it's all
there's
pertinent,
a reason she's describing each guy she hooked up with.
She
It's
builds
like,
an amazing case.
Yeah.
She is her best.
she's her own lawyer.
She's her best
in this.
lawyer.
So, and I'm like, what she went through, and she also doesn't make it a little too like sob for me.
No,
you know?
no. She's not self-pitying, and she's only like, and when she is, it's very clear that that's like coming from her own like emotionally insecure place. Like, she's saying like, "Oh, I felt like so stupid that I was so naive," kind of thing, you know. And it's like you feel that in the moment, but it's not her trying to like be like, can you believe how tough it is for me, a poor
to
American
go to prison.
girl
I
in
like
prison
am
in
from
Italy?
Seattle. You can't believe like I had to do this. Like, she's
Yeah.
kind of like, yeah, this was my crazy cellmate, and then like I kissed in the bathroom, and
it makes it a lot more affecting.
it really does. So I would say,
Well done, Amanda.
good job. I'm glad I heard you.
Yes. Yes, Amanda, you have been
heard.
Heard.
Okay, club kids. Well,
Be careful in
be
Italy.
careful and like don't be naive, and
Just
don't
trust
hand
the
out
Italian
flyers.
police.
Yeah, don't become an Italian policeman. Okay, best.
Yeah, I mean, well, maybe they could change the system from the inside or whatever.
Yes. Okay. I'm
That
moving
just
to
seems like
that's
it's
what
not
I'm doing.
I don't know if
Corleone.
that's going to happen.
But just be aware when you're going abroad.
Yeah, be super aware.
Super safe, and grab a buddy. But maybe a few.
Maybe
Make sure
more
there's
than 2,
witnesses.
Witness up. All right. Best. Celebrity Book Club is presented by Prolaghini Progetto. The show is produced by Benjamino Fricce with editorial support from Leone Nefacchi, Andrew Parsoni, Arlina Ravallo, and Madalino Caplani. A production managerio is Parsia Valin. Our internia is no more. He is Caputo. We gotta rid of him. Original theme song by Stephen Phillips Oster. He's so sexual and American. I think he commit a murder for fun. Artwork by Teddy Blanks, Chips and Noir. He is so sexy with his little pen and paper, and he make an art that is so emotive and affecting for the people. They look at it and they say, oh my God, I want to participate in this event. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at CBC The Pod. Subscribe on your favorite podcast app like Apple or Spotify. Leave us a review and don't forget to tell your friends about us. Friendship is so important, and when you gather on the piazza for your vino and your cappuccino and your cortado and your cappuccini with your friends, you have to talk about something. Why don't you say, hey, you should listen to Celebrity Book Club, it's such a good podcast, it's so fun, it's going to change your life, so just put it on, right? You should tell your friends, and you should also leave a review, because none of you leave reviews anymore, and every week I go and I check and I cry, and the tears come out of my eye because I see no new reviews. Do you not love us? Do we not give you enough for free? For free, we give you our life, we give you our hearts, and you give us nothing in return. So write a review. Go to Apple, go to iTunes, and write your review, please. We are begging you. It's not that hard. You just write a little thing and you say 5 stars. You say, molto, molto, molto bene, bellissima. Thank you, Stephen and Lily, for creating this thing that I love so much. It's not that hard. Just do it, just do it, just do it. Oh, and also subscribe to the VIP Lounge because it's so sexual and amazing, and we have so much free Campari spritzes in the VIP Lounge. You want to join us there? So go to patreon.com/CBC The Pod and subscribe. Ciao!